Hey guys, welcome back to the GSL Code S Group H. It's been dubbed the Stefano Group. Fortunately for him, he finds himself in the losers match up against Hack, who was not able to take out DRG. That was the last set we just saw. Now it's time for the winners match. One of these two players, Bogus or DRG, is going to take the first place in the group and get right into Code S. The other one will have to play in the final match against whoever wins between Hack and Stefano. In talking to Stefano earlier during the break, he seems very relaxed. He's hanging out, in fact, with Karn, another French player you guys may have heard of. And what he said was, you know, obviously Hack is the player you want to face in the losers match if you lost. And then, of course, he wants to play against Innovation and not DRG. He doesn't want to play a ZVZ in the final match. So if you're a Stefano fan, keep those things in mind because that's how he's looking at this going forward here. Innovation versus DRG. Winners match starting out on Akalon Flats, a map that was popularized, of course, in the StarCraft 2 Heartless Swarm beta, now being pushed into Wings of Liberty, preparing for that Heartless Swarm. This is, of course, for those of you guys who do not know, the last Wings of Liberty Code S. DRG, the final boss of Wings of Liberty. You can see if he can push things through, maybe take another title. Innovation is not going to give it to him easily. Innovation doing so well last season. And the way we saw him play earlier against Stefano was actually art-like. Can he do it again? It's Akalon Flats. This is the GSL Code S. I am Wolf. Today alone, but I know you're all with me. Let's do this. At the top left in the yellow, Terran player from STX Seoul. It is
STX Seoul Innovation.
Changed his ID because he thought his last one was a little bit bogus. Wearing that teal jersey, I guess I would call it teal. It's teal, turquoise, whatever you want to call it. His opponent to the bottom right, in the red, the final boss for MVP. You all know and love him. He is
MVP DongRaeGu.
You know, the face of Zerg for quite some time here in Korea. The guy you never wanted to face in GSTL. He had a rough time, but he's back and he's better than ever. New and improved DRG. Now, some key features of this map that are different from the beta is that after 420 seconds in-game, about 7 minutes, the watchtowers will actually explode and no longer grant vision. So, watchtowers on this map can give you a ton of information about the center of the map and the paths you take. Really easy to scout and know exactly what your opponent's doing for the first 7 minutes, but after that time, holding the watchtowers doesn't mean anything. They won't exist anymore. Holding the high ground is still helpful, give you a little bit of vision, but you don't get that free reign of the center of the map. So the watchtowers become less important as the game goes on. The only other map to ever have a watchtower like this in GSL history was El Naga Fortress, which had the watchtower explode after 7 minutes as well, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was 8. But after the early game, it was gone. There's also, of course, neutral T-posts on this map instead of unbuildable plates. The other distinguishing feature between this map and the beta version. We'll see Innovation now drop his command center. Going for a safer build, going Barracks first. On the other hand, DRG playing very standard, goes Hatchery first, not trying to play too safely against a player who's shown the proclivity to go for a CC first time and time again. This map is a two-player map. It looks small if you just look at the mini-map, but it's actually quite large. There's a lot of bases, and the bases are taken in such a way that you feel very comfortable moving forward with them. You take them kind of step by step. Another thing I didn't mention earlier that is actually different about this map, which is actually a really important thing to mention, is that on the beta version of this map, there are collapsible rock towers. Of course, that just don't exist in Wings of Liberty yet, so instead there are just destructible rocks that lead into the third base. There's no wall you can make there, so it's always open. So it's fairly close by and easy to take, but unless you destroy the rocks, things get a little bit hairy to defend. So you definitely have to take those rocks out. Gas is taken for Innovation now. We'll see what type of build he has planned. And, you know, DRG just crushed Hack. Didn't even look close. The game that we saw between Innovation and Stefano were a little bit different. Stefano in game number 2 didn't really get to show anything, and in game number 1 he showed excellent control, great late game. Unfortunately for him, just not able to keep up with Innovation's multitasking is harassing. Will Innovation go for more harassment-oriented style. In game 1, he dropped constantly, sending drops to the corner of the base, attacking over and over and over again. And in game 2, he went for a Hellion-type harass, where he actually just ended the game with a nice timing attack. I would not be surprised to see a similar playstyle from him here, of course, on Ackle Flats. Queens want to get over to that third base as soon as possible to start spreading creep. Needs to make sure he kills the rocks as well, because with the rocks being there, if Innovation goes for a timing attack at the third base and they're still up, he has to walk way too far to be able to defend. So the walking distance with the rocks in place is longer than, for example, I think it's much longer than in Tomb Valley, because there's no little choke point pathway you can take. You have to walk all the way around. So imagine this map is like a 2-player in Tomb Valley, kind of, with no center watchtower. It's not quite like in Tomb Valley at all, except for third base. It doesn't even have a similar color tile set. It's a 2-player map, not a 4-player map. It's very different. Bunker going up for Innovation, not cutting any corners here, not taking a fast third, goes for Stim, which indicates again more one of these aggressive styles. DRG's going to take this base over here to the right side, which is actually not quite as common in the beta, because that base is easier to defend with the collapsible rock towers in the beta. But on this map, this version of the map, I guess that makes more sense. Otherwise, you have to make a ton of units to kill the rocks. So that's smart. I think this is my first time actually casting a game on this GSL version of this map. I know it is. So I'm kind of exploring it with you guys a little bit. Evolution Chamber is going down, but Innovation has the faster 1-1 on the way. You can see the Hellions go to check the watchtower, but it no longer exists. 40 seconds ago it was gone. It does clean up the Ling there. It's important, like I said, though, to hold those positions, because you do get some high ground vision. You can fire from that position as well if you have siege tanks up there. It's a bit situational, but it can work out in your advantage. With a line of sight blocker, it's a little bit tougher to see behind you, though. Innovation just putting on some pressure with these Hellions. He actually catches DRG's Queen's a little bit out of position. That's what this wall is for, but you know what? With only a few Lings there, he could have tried to break through. Decides, you know what, it's not worth the risk. I don't want to lose my Hellions here. If I lose them without doing damage, I lose my map control. Then DRG can take that base to the bottom left. I won't even be able to scout it. Not going to let that happen. He sees the creep spreading towards that third base at the top right. Decides not to check for a double expand because he knows that DRG's not a crazy person. Not going to try to do both. DRG takes calculated risks, not crazy risks. That's Jelizer. You retired. 2 additional barracks going down. Third CC. He's lined up his armory decently well to get 2-2. He's going to miss the window just a little bit. But just he's powering up to take that third base and to start being aggressive. Even destroying the rocks. He wants to take the third base that DRG did not take, because the Terran player can feel a little bit more comfortable taking a third expansion much later than a Zerg does. He doesn't have to have it right away. Plenty of time to destroy those rocks, which DRG could work on himself now if he wanted to. He's got 18 Lings on the map. He wants to use them to defend against these Hellions, so sending them over to that rock area is a bit of a liability. He can only send a few if he wanted to do that. Having Lings on the outside of that rock is just asking to lose them. Gotta be careful about that. DRG, though, despite the fact that he's playing on a map that, you know, I feel is a little bit awkward for a Zerg, but you have to expand. He's taken a decent supply lead here. Innovation's not been able to really punish him or pressure him. DRG at 50, well, he's at 77 versus 54. That's about a 23 Harvester lead there. Oh, if only Caldo were here. I'm sure he's like laughing, probably just spilled something at home. I'm sure he's watching in Germany right now live. But a ton of tumors going down for DRG. We already saw how good he is at this. In the past, we've seen it. When the Queen patch came out, he was one of the first Zergs to just really give Terrans hell about those creep tumors. And he's just continuing to do so here. One Overlord goes down, but DRG had plenty of Overlords to spare. He's trying to catch this army. He knows also as well that he doesn't need to commit to this because he'll lose several of his Banelings, especially if they're targeted, then he'll just pick up. Innovation will pick up his units. The Queens aren't fast enough to chase the medevacs down, so he doesn't want to engage, just wants to scare him out. And that's what he is able to do. Continues the creep spread. Just continuing now very meticulously, I would say, through the middle of the map. Both of the external watchtowers are held right now by opposite players. The one to the bottom left is held by Innovation, and DRG holds one to the top right. So they both have some awareness of a little bit of pathing, a little bit of drop play that might go on. Not as much information as the middle of the map, though, is given to DRG with his creep. Yeah, he doesn't have those watchtowers to rely on in the middle of the map, but with his creep here, it's better than a watchtower. It grants vision. Innovation decides to move out now. He's got 25 Marines and 2 siege tanks and 4 medevacs to support. This is a scary push considering the Baneling speed is not done yet. If he targets these Banelings down well, DRG could be in trouble. If you look at the supply count, DRG is up 60 supply, but most of that is in drones. Oh, and good Baneling hits those. This is great for DRG. Innovation is not going to be happy with this. DRG considers fighting with his Mulus, realizes he doesn't quite have enough. If he had maybe 3 or 4 more, he could have actually traded that decently well, but with the count he had, he decides to pull back. A smart choice with that many medevacs. A great win for DRG, though, getting those Baneling hits. Now he's pushed the army back. He's got the creep going forward. Everything is looking good for him right now. He's even taken his 4th base at this moment in time. Innovation is trying to do what he can to clear up these tumors. He's got a good harvester count. In fact, he's been able to catch up pretty quickly, 71 to 80 right now. His composition, though, is just not strong enough to push the creep back and defend. You know, DRG's in a situation where he can fly Mutas forward off creep to spot, to get vision, to figure out where Innovation's army is, what the composition is, how large it is. If he sees that there's a few units missing, he's going to think, okay, there's got to be drops somewhere. If he sees the army looks small enough to fight it, he may take an engagement as soon as part of the units step on creep where he's got that speed advantage. All DRG really needs to do right now is protect this creep to a certain extent, but most importantly, keep his 4th base alive. And with the amount of map control he has, with 119 zerglings on the map, he shouldn't have much trouble. Tries to pick up a siege tank here. He sees a point of weakness. This is what I was talking about. The Mutas saw a gap, and he goes for it. Half of Innovation's army was a little bit far behind. He fights 2 armies that are smaller, separate than they are together, and DRG now takes a 60 supply lead here. DRG crushes this siege tank. He's got no chance. Even the medevac's starting to fall here. And is Innovation really going to die like this? He splits his army into 2 groups. DRG sees it and goes for the attack. And Innovation looks like he's just going to fall over and die here. DRG doubles his supply now. 191 to 98. And DRG is not done. He forced a lift. He's killing the refineries. The Marines are trying to chase down the views. There's not enough. Ling support here is way too much. He targets down siege tank on the high ground. He's enough views to where he can fight if he wants to. He starts to really nice angle here for DRG. Not messing this up, not overextending himself. A good Baneling hit. Innovation doesn't die yet, but he's lost all chance that he had of retaking the map, taking a 4th base. Now he's just desperate. He's trying to retake his own 3rd, whereas DRG could take the 5th base. He could even take the 5th base to the top right of the map if he wanted to, where he's already got creep spread quite heavily. He could do it in the bottom left as well. His creep is already pretty much there. There's very few places left on this map where DRG's creep is not. Innovation needs to pull off a miracle here. He needs to innovate beyond innovation if he wants to take this game. DRG is just everywhere here, and now he's streaming across the map with the 2nd wave. He's remaxed. Way too many units here. The Mutalist count alone is at 20. The Marine count now down to 25, and with this many Lings to support, Innovation is just struggling to survive. You know, DRG extended himself a little bit too far there, but with his bank, he just doesn't care. He starts 3-3, he remaxes instantly. As much as he can, you know, Zerglings cost a lot of larva, 52 of them on the way. He starts in Ultra's Cavern. That was a decent trade for Innovation if you look at it cost for cost, but as far as the economy of this game goes and how far behind Innovation is and how he has to remake a 3rd base right now, this is something that DRG can just do over and over and over again, and the supply gap is going to get bigger and bigger. A lot of views go down here, but all of the Marines will go down as well as the medevacs. DRG takes, again, a 60 supply lead, and he wants to finish this game. There's not very many Marines left. They run away. The Mutas, again, not the best unit you want to fight Marines with, but with this many of them, it just does not matter. GG, DRG on a roll tonight. Takes game 1, 1 game away of getting that Code S round of 16 spot, taking 1st place in the group. Innovation looked good in his first series against Stefano, but DRG is looking like he's on another level. Innovation, he's going to have to think a little bit harder about his next move. He is the final boss, for sure. 1 win away. Innovation has to keep his wits about him. Consider, though, if Innovation loses, he will actually just fall down to the final match. He will not be out of the group. you can see that sigh of relief on Innovation's face when he's just thinking like, all right, you know, this is my map pick. It's Cloud Kingdom's map. I wanna do. It's not even really a sigh of relief. It's a sigh of like, all right, I gotta calm myself down. I'm doing it here. I'm 2 games away of taking the spot. DRG's only 1 game up on me. And DRG taking a 2-0, and then and now the 3rd game is a 3-0, just like the Iron Squid Finals. And history has a tendency to repeat itself. If DRG loses his cool here, it's possible he ends up losing and falling all the way out of the group. But right now, as of this moment, he is the very closest to the round of 16 out of anyone else in this group. He's got 1 game left. Can he do it? The map is Cloud Kingdom. This is the GSL Code S Group H. I am Wolf, and with me is everyone watching online and the fans in the studio. Let's do this.